gotta preach. I just do what comes natural. 5-star, everything I see. Live large, no apology. Take charge, no one can compete. I just do what comes natural.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Can We Talk Sports? I'm so excited this show today. It is the first time of us having a parent panel. We have some sports dads on the show, and it's going to be an amazing show. And I am Karen. I'm considered a community sports mom here in DeSoto, Texas, and I'm an entrepreneur.
I'm Carmen, aka Mama D, and I am a sports mom, a sports aunt, and a community sports supporter.
And this is your girl Shannon, and I am also a sports mom and an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on, Shannon?
Why you always go to me first? 'Cause you already know. Nothing much, just enjoying life, raising kids, excited. Got a daughter in college,
Wow.
getting ready to go to college, and excited about the XFL coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I've got three sons. Yes, I've got three sons who will be in the XFL. The draft is in November, so we're excited about that, but that's about it, really.
That's amazing because I think that gives our kids another avenue to continue to play the sports,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's
I
awesome.
love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
And to sports moms and parents out there, I would say look into it, do a little bit of investigation, find out what's going on with this XFL, because your son might be eligible to play. It might be a good, that maybe they thought they didn't get drafted by the NFL or whatever. This is a good opportunity.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. The Rock actually, Arlington is the hub.
Oh, really?
So I think that was a boss move. I know all you Cowboy fans out there, but The Rock made a boss move on Mr. Jones. So I'm pretty excited about it. But Arlington's the hub, and I think it's going to do really good. It's going to do really good.
I will watch for sure.
I will. Too.
It's actually more exciting because, before COVID, it's kind of like they played like they were in college, right? College ball is exciting than NFL to me because they're trying to get to the NFL. Mm-hmm. So in the XFL, they were playing the same way. Level, right? Still trying to get to the NFL. So it was really good. It was pretty exciting. So listen, if you want to follow us, please check us out on all forms of social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Can We Talk Sports.
At gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
And if you're watching on social media, make sure you like us.
Yes, please like us.
Thumbs up.
Because we like you.
Yeah.
And I think you should tell your uncle, your sports uncle, your sports aunt, your sports granny, your sports cousin. Tell everybody about Can We Talk Sports, because you know what? We got something to say.
We got something to say. Absolutely.
All the time.
So listen, you guys, I'm really excited today to bring on our guests. Okay, we have Wendell Reese, who's here in the studio with us. Hey, Wendell.
Hello.
And then we have Candace Harris.
Hello,
who
Miss
is here in the
Candace.
studio with us. We're excited, Candace. And then we have joining us remotely, Karen Lacey. Hey, Karen. So we're excited to have Willie Drew with us remotely. We're so excited you guys are joining us. Now listen, we play a game called Would You Rather. Okay, so I'm going to start out. I have a question for all four of you guys can answer, and then Karen will take a turn. So listen, as a sports mom myself, I struggled with this. Would you rather support your child playing running summer track in Texas, out in the heat, which we've had 30 how many days of over 100 degree weather, or support a child who is playing hockey in the air-conditioned ice rink?
Right.
Would you rather?
I would definitely like to be air conditioned.
Yeah.
I'm already tan from this summer. So yeah, I would definitely rather the air conditioned, the cold.
Mr. Wendell, which would you rather?
Oh, I'd rather be outside in the heat. I'm not with the Nordic
Let's just hear
sports.
the heat.
Yeah, I'm not with the Nordic sports.
How about you, Karen?
Well, I guess since my reality was that my children are in summer track, I'll go with summer track. I'll take summer track over time.
Absolutely. Okay. And Mr. Willie?
Well, of course, as a youth coach, I coached summer track for 20 years. Coached youth football. We utilize summer track as a training ground for our field guys in football, and led them all the way through high school. My daughter went to Ivy University on a full track and field scholarship. She now works for the University of Central Florida as a liaison for the track, young women on the track program and the administration. She's like a mental health expert in that realm. So I have to go with some track, and you know, because Texas is known for the athletes that we turn out, and you know, keeping them involved in athletics like track really helps this breeding ground when it comes to putting quality athletes into college, one is Division 1, 2, 3, or whatever, and as well as putting them in the NFL, as you can see by the young ladies that are here today.
Whoa, good
Wow.
answer. Coach Willie, excellent answer. Karen, you got a question?
All right. So my question is, would you rather be able to look into the future or change something from the past?
That's a good one.
Um, I think look in the future. Maybe that can help guide some present steps versus going back. But yeah, I definitely think I'd rather look to the future. Look in the future.
What about you?
Future. I'd look to the future. The past is part of what makes you who you are. So you don't want to change who you are. Take advantage.
Good answer.
Take advantage of you know, get into some stocks right now, and you know.
Okay.
How about you, Willie Drew? The past or the future?
You know, the past is not something I dwell too much on. So I would love to have a peephole into the future to sort of help lead us from this point. I feel like I've been so blessed. My children have been blessed. But I really don't like to dwell on the past too much. A couple of failed marriages will sort of cause you to do that. But yeah, I would like to be able to see into the future, and that I think that will help pave our way moving forward.
And you, Karen?
Well, that's a tricky one because going back to change the past typically don't involve me being able to keep the information that I have. Normally, it's like go back to the past and start over with the same unknowing, you know, that we started with. So with that being the case, I would say I'd rather look into the future, because if it was like 3:23 p.m. July 29th, I could have looked and saw what those lotto numbers were going to be at 10 p.m. last night, and that would have done some big good in my life. So I think I look into the future.
Oh, that's right.
I know that lottery ticket.
$1 billion
Right. Let's find the
lottery. I
numbers
forgot.
real quick.
Well, when we come back, we're going to get into some great questions with our guests. I can't wait to dig into these questions with the sports parents and really find out about them and raising up a student athlete. So we'll be right back.
welcome back to Can We Talk Sports. I'm super excited about this question I have. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there was a where a coach choked a ref. Have you guys seen that? Yeah. Okay, so so my question is this: how do the parents and the coaches and their aggressiveness? How do you guys deal with that, or how do you feel about that?
Well, so I haven't dealt with a coach personally that aggressive, because I would have a fit. But I definitely been around parents that I'm like, okay, she gonna get us all put out the game. And it's more of us moms. I know we can get very, especially when our kids, we can be like, hey, you're not calling the right calls. We can be very aggressive, or on the defense side, like, hey, that shouldn't have been happening. But yeah, I definitely experienced some parents that were almost fist fighting. So I definitely have to remove myself out of that little section, and keep it going. But sometimes they get talking to or whatever, and they're cool the next time. But it just personally, it's one of those. It just depends on the situation. Is it something that I need to remove my child from the whole team? Do we need to find somewhere else to go, or is it just like a one-off type of situation? I just go somewhere else in the stands.
Come on now, as a parent, you never got a little heated, like it's been.
Oh no, I definitely. Okay, but not to the point where I'm arguing. I don't argue with. I'm not that type of parent that argue with refs or argue with coaches. Now I'm gonna tell my husband about it. I'm gonna tell him about it afterwards and let all my steam out. But I'm pretty like, hey, you do your job, son, and don't worry about what else is going on, because you can't change what the ref is saying. You can get mad, but you can't change it. It's a call to call. But yeah.
Yeah. So what about you?
Because
you're a coach.
Yeah, I've coached.
So you've been on both sides of the.
Yeah.
And you probably wanted to choke a ref.
No. No, I was fortunate enough to have good coaches with me, so I had good teams. So there has been times where I've been in conflict with refs, but not to the point where I want to get physical with them or anything like that. Parents?
A whole nother story.
It's a little bit more difficult with parents, depending on the age of the athlete. Here in Texas, some of these parents can get bent out of shape over flag football, which is a problem. Wow. Particularly football and baseball, softball. The refs and the umps have a pretty big impact on the game, and basketball for that matter. That's why I'm recommending to parents that their kids play golf now.
Individual sport.
Right. It's an individual sport.
There's no ref.
And there's no referees. And you do your own self-governing on the course.
That's good.
It's a better sport to me for younger kids because it has so many life lessons involved. I mean, you're responsible for your next lie. So if you wind up in a bush, deal with it.
Wow.
Get yourself out of that situation and get you somewhere where you can have a clean shot at the green. So, there's a lot of life parallels in that game that are more suited for young kids as opposed to, banging into each other or, blowing out a knee, something like that, Plus, you can play it till you're 70, so.
Yeah, I see that.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted us to just kind of dive into sports and education. You can tell me what your preference is. Do you preference education? Do you preference sports? And where is society at right now as far as sports and education? What do you see this society is?
Well, I'll go first. Well, money makes the world goes round. You need money to make to eat, sleep, lay down, have a roof over your head. So, with education, whether it's, education, sports, or whatever it is, you need to be doing something to make money. But I am pushing towards education. I'm a newly sports parent, but he'll be a freshman. But it's always been education. Look, if your grades not together, we're not doing it. you gonna be on timeout. But I didn't put him in sports thinking about money. I put him in sports just to be active. But now I'm seeing where the higher you up, the colleges, and I'm starting to see where they started giving. Well, I don't know if they did it yet, but I just heard talks about the higher you get, the more you can be given whatever a type of income or something. Yeah. But so that wasn't my first thought when putting my son in sports. Let's put him, because we won. My husband, he's definitely like, you need to go back to baseball. They're doing, they do some type of minority things with baseball. So he really wanted to get him baseball to get to whatever little scholarships or funding they had for minorities. But that wasn't our first thing to do, get him in sports just because of money. But I do see, it can't be all about money and not even what the child wants, in certain areas. But that wasn't our, initial, okay, let's put him in sports. Let's see what he can do, and let's get to, let's try to push so we get, we can stop working. But no, that wasn't our thing. But yeah, and we're still like, hey, if you're not really wanting to do this, let us know. We're gonna push you as further as we can, but we're not gonna force you into a life that you're not even wanting to be in, with sports. So education is top priority, because you need to know what to do, when to do, and how to do it. So yeah.
That's right. What about you, Mr. Reese?
For me, it's about the desire of the kid. They have to go to school, period, right? But I didn't force any of my kids to play sports. But at the same time, I didn't stop them or discourage them either. I'll give you an example. My daughter made up her mind that she wanted to make the honor roll. And she buckled down and made the honor roll, right? And shortly after that, she decided she wanted to play softball. And she wanted to, improve her hitting. So she buckled down, and I got her lessons, and we did as much as we could with her, in that area. But it was all relegated on her desire, so sometimes, you'll have a kid, I have another daughter who could throw a softball through a brick wall and hit a softball a mile. Didn't care about the game though. Wow. So it's just, it depends on the kid. But I think every kid should learn 2 additional languages and 2 additional music instruments.
Wow.
I agree.
Yeah, that's good.
At least an additional language and an additional instrument. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I say 2 languages because we only have 2 languages bordering our country. French in Canada and Spanish in Mexico. So
Yeah.
that's why I say that.
How about you, Karen?
I think that it's important to really have a mindset on what do we mean by education, number one. I mean, because at the basic sense, everyone needs to be educated. We can't have an illiterate society. So we need to, at the most fundamental level, be able to read, be able to write. We need to be able to understand, people, when we're speaking in conversations, we need to be able to read and understand. And regardless of if we're talking about a person who has the level of talent that can make it to the top level, whether it's the Olympics, NFL, NBA, or what have you, those skills are going to be needed. So, with that being the case, we definitely need to steer our children towards education. Unfortunately, a lot of people see sports as a way not to have to worry about education. And as a result of that, that's is pushed, or people see maybe fast money or whatever I guess whatever the thrills that comes along with that type of life, which really is not all thrills. I remember when my son was junior in high school, our keynote speaker at the banquet, his motivational speech, I guess if you want to call it motivational, was titled what is it? He talked about the not so glamorous side of the NFL. And I just remember being very intrigued with his story, and also monitoring the response that he received. And at the time in the banquet room, it was quiet. It's like you can hear a needle drop if anyone would have dropped it, because everyone was just, I don't know if they were in shock. I don't know if it wasn't making them feel good. It wasn't what they wanted to hear, or maybe they felt like it wouldn't apply to them. I don't know, but he talked about the not so glamorous life of the NFL, and how the fact that even though you may have better talent than someone else, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the opportunity to play, because these professional teams, they're very political. It's very political. And so it's a lot that goes into it. So with that being the case, for me, education was always important to me, because number one, that's, nobody can take your education away from you. Number two, when you look at going to college and the expenses associated with it, you were going to need to be educated. And so I always push scholarships from the beginning. When my children were 1 and 2, I was like, I don't know if it'll be an athletic scholarship, if it'll be an academic scholarship, but we were focusing on scholarship, because I had to pay for college. I had to get out student loans. So I didn't want that to be for my children. And it's not that I couldn't have got a scholarship, athletic or academically, but that's just not where my mindset was, So when you know better, you do better. So I made sure I directed my kids in that direction. So I'm always education first, but at the same time, somebody will run in the Olympics, somebody will play NFL, somebody will play NBA. So why not be, one of our children if they have what it takes, and if it's, God's design for that to happen to them. To me, that's just like an add-on, because unless you're like drafted really high, or in the NBA with guaranteed money, but in the NFL, unless you're drafted really high, you're gonna have to work when your career is over. I mean, depending on how long you're in there, unless you're one of those people with multi-million dollars and you become a household name because you're able to get advertisements and things like that can help push your finances to a different level. But for the average NFL person, once they're done, they're going to need to work. So again, we need to fall back on our education, whether you are working for someone or others are working for you. We need to be educated.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Awesome. What about you, Coach Drew?
Well, unfortunately, I've been accused of being all about sports, by some of the sports moms with the young kids that I work with, and I explain to them it's not an either or. I mean, they work hand in hand. The education. Remember when Ross Perot came up with the no pass, no play? There were people up in arms about how it sort of negatively affected the Black community, and you had kids who were falling by the wayside who had been all about sports. And Of course, with time, we adjust as a community and we understand the importance of what that rule did because it forced us to do things that we should have been doing all along. And that's encouraging the academic side for these young athletes. We're blessed by God. I mean, an athletic gift is a gift from God. It ain't from mom and daddy. It might be through mom and daddy, but it's a gift from God. And God entrusted us to sort of help these young men and women to get through life without wasting the gift that he gave them. You got so many different nationalities competing for college scholarships academically. A lot of the young Asian children are reading on a high school level before they even get out of preschool. And I'm not exaggerating here. I'm just saying that's what we're up against if you want to go strictly academics. And I'm not saying we can't, but we also can't diminish the gifts that God gave our children and allow anybody to, to shun us or make you feel bad because you're encouraging an athletic gift that God gave you. All three of my kids who have their degrees and two of them have their masters, they all went to school on athletic scholarships. I have a son who went to Baylor to play football. After a year, he was done, but he still stayed in school and got his degree. That was important. While he was there, he found money to help pay for it. My daughter, like I said, she went to Iowa State University for a track scholarship. She got hers. She's doing well. My youngest son didn't have many opportunities coming out of high school, but he went to prep school up in New England and found 21 Division I scholarships. Although he didn't go Division I, he decided to go Division III because he was chasing an academic dream. He wasn't big on football, and he was one. And I hate to admit this, guys, I forced him to stay in football. When he was seventh grade, he came to me. He said, "Dad, I don't really want to play anymore." And I say, "Son, you have a gift, and I can't allow you to waste that gift. Now, if you can find something else that's going to pay your way through college, I'm all for it. And I'll encourage you and I'll work with you. But until that day, you're going to play football." And when he was in high school, the coaches would come to me and say, he really embraces his academics over football. And that wasn't a good thing to the coaches. But hey, it all worked out. He's now coaching high school football in the state of Connecticut, and doing a great job. This is his third year as the head football coach, and he'll be turning 30 next month. And his overall plan is to move back to Texas in about 3 or 4 years with that resume and that pedigree and become a Texas high school football coach. He's amazed to this day that football has played such a huge role in his life. And he does have his master's degree. He did get the education along with it. So it's not an either or, guys. It's just a matter of being able to know your children, understand what gifts they have, and not allowing them to waste them.
Wow. Like I said, this is going to be a great topic. Just getting the parents' thoughts about it's amazing because you see the sports world is changing. It is changing. They're going after our kids even younger now. They have the name, likeness, and image. So what do you think about your kids being 9 and 10 years old and starting making money? What if advertisers are starting to go after your kids at that age? What's your thoughts about that?
That's Joe Jackson level right there. On the one hand, you may enrich your kid or your family on one level, but on another level, and maybe in the future, these chickens will come home to roost. So I think we also have to address the difference in the changing in education now, because education is not just getting a college degree. Technology has made it so now where you can learn some of the most fascinating things in technology online without paying a cent and develop enough experience to garner a six-figure salary within 5 years.
It's true. It's true.
So, you know, there are other avenues nowadays. I mean, you know, these kids are fortunate. They don't have what do you call it? They don't have Britannica to deal with. You know, I had Encyclopedia Britannica to do my term papers with. Yeah, it only had the P, the Q, and the W books. I don't know what other ones went.
Couldn't find the other ones.
Now everything is at at your smartphone. You know, so you know the information age. These kids growing up in the information age have a whole lot more options than we do, and maybe saddling them with a six-figure debt, you know, is not necessarily a good start off into your adult life. I would think, you know.
You have a thought?
Well, my thing is like, for the 9 or 10-year-old, you have 9 to your actors. You have 9 to your models. You have 9 to your YouTubers, 5-year-old YouTubers that's making bank, making more than me. So, I mean, like, so at that point, like, what would be the difference? It's just another avenue for starting to kid talent, making income. So, I mean, I would be hesitant. I'm like, whoa, okay. But I would make sure we have people in place. I will make sure we are knowledgeable about what is going on and what's taking place. Because you hear so many stories where parents, well, I didn't know what they was going to do with my kid, and you know, and the kid come all out adult crazy. But yeah, so you definitely want to educate yourself into whatever it is, any contract, anything dealing with, you know, money. You need to make sure you know what's going on with your kid. But I don't see too much a difference. I don't see them, you know, it won't be every, you know, youth athlete, you know, but kids are making money. So it's just another revenue, another outlet for them to start making money. But that's a different way.
I think that sports is the change of sports. Other words is now you can go from high school straight into a professional sport, right? So you can't go from high school to the NFL, but you can go from high school to the XFL now. You can go from high school to minor leagues baseball. You can go so I know a young man who's got a high school diploma, but he's just really not a college kid, right? Very smart, but he's just not college kid. So he wants to go straight from he's going straight from high school to the G League, right? Now, later in life, he said if he wants to go online and take classes, he'll do it. And you have a lot of athletes who actually go back and take classes later and graduate. But now, and especially now with so much going on in school and all the different laws and the books and, you know, the teaching, a lot of kids are losing that drive to go to college like they used to, because so much is happening, you know, and it's changing. And so they're just kind of losing the drive. And then, like I said, with sports opening up, it's giving kids opportunity straight out of high school. Now, on the men's side, majority. Now, on the female side, you can't go straight out of high school basketball to women's NBA. They don't have a G League. Right. But majority of the male side, you can go straight out.
Hockey,
you can go straight out and go into a professional sport. So, yeah. It's different.
Karen or Drew, did you guys have a thought or opinions about the name, image, or likeness for our kids?
I really have mixed. I have mixed thoughts about that. I haven't really taken enough time to really form, you know, a meaningful opinion. I do understand that the universities do make money off of certain athletes, and and people may believe that the athlete should be able to make some of the money too. However, I just wonder, how far do we go? Because if we're talking about college age students from 19 to 22, um, I'm just kind of wondering, if they have the correct financial guidance, like someone who won't make it to the NFL and they're so into making this money from endorsements, their image, their likeness. What are they doing with the money? Because a lot of times people like that, it may get to their head that they're headed for the NFL. They may forego their education, may not take it seriously. So I think it's a good opportunity to afford them to make money and get a good head start, like saving the money for whatever that they may do for their future. But I can also see how people can just get out of control and think that this is all I'm going to college for, is the opportunity for me to try to make this money. And then when the next level doesn't happen, what happens after that? If you've gone through college, you've blown that money that you have, you don't make it to the NFL, and then what after that? Because there's too many players who have left college early because maybe they were the highlight player at their university and they just felt like it was a no-brainer that they would make it, and they didn't. And so they leave college early, they don't have a degree, they didn't get drafted, maybe they went undrafted, hung around 1 or 2 years. Once they're done, what do? That you don't have an education. Okay, so same scenario with these people. I guess we're probably thinking that only those who are the highest rated high school athletes will get the money. What is that saying to maybe the lower rated a 2-star player as opposed to a 5-star player? What is that saying for that particular player? I just think that it's kind of iffy. And I always think about with my son. I know that he graduated from DeSoto High School, and it was stacked. The receiver core was stacked. He had to wait until he was a senior in high school for him to be able to even start. And because we are about education, we didn't jump around. We didn't go from school to find a home for him to start, because we could have done that. But we did not do that. He stayed at DeSoto his senior years when he started. Now, a lot of this stuff that happens for these players, it starts before their senior year, because at that time, DeSoto was 5A. He was leading the division in stats. He led the division. I think he was one short of touchdowns when the season ended, but he led in every other category his senior year. But when you think about like the Under Armour games and things of that nature, he didn't get invites to go to that, because that stuff starts when you're a freshman, sophomore, junior. They're looking at stats compiled from there. So I just think that it's real iffy when you start looking at this student who may be this star, so they're going to get more money. This student who's a lesser star, they won't get more money. It seems like there's really no logic to it, or no rhyme or reason to it, other than if the university can make the money, let the boys make the money, which to some degree I agree with that. But then in the end, it'll be interesting for me to see how does it work out for individual players, if it really does help their life in the end, the way people are thinking it will.
And to piggyback on what Karen was saying, it is sort of in its infancy, the NIL, and so the process will be tweaked along the way, because I think that to have a high school player come in with all this fanfare and get big NIL money and hasn't accomplished anything, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. I think it should go to the kids who have actually accomplished something that freshman year in college or sophomore year in college. You can't go pro until your third year out of high school, to your third completed year out of high school. So that's enough time for a kid to create a track record and maybe get some get some type of classes, money management classes in college along the way, so that they can be better prepared to handle the money that comes their way. I do think they deserve it. The universities have made billions of dollars off these athletes, and they weren't even allowed to work a job while on a Division I scholarship. So by all means, I feel like they deserve to make the money, but I think they need to be able to qualify at some point to make that money, and even pass classes that show that they know how to handle that money.
Good answers. Well, I have a question for Candace. So Candace, you're the newbie here. You have one that's going to be a freshman, and you've got veteran parents here. Do you have any questions?
I'm sorry, is that a question for me? 'Cause I can barely hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm asking Candace if she has any questions for you guys. Because she's a newbie parent. She's got a freshman coming up. And she might have some questions for you veteran parents who have gone through the sporting high school and college. So I'm asking her, does she have any questions for you guys?
Let's see. The only question I guess I could think of, when did you know when not to push your kids too far, or when what was that like that? I guess that limit, like, okay, well, let me not press too hard or go too far because they might not be able to handle it. What was that take on you guys' side?
Push too hard in what type of way?
As far as athletics, in athletics, anything, maybe you pushing them too hard, or you fit, or it may be you pushing them too hard as far as, okay, well, sun up, you need to be out here doing this, sun down, you need to be out here doing that. I'm just saying, what was like, where you knew it was a limit to, okay, how far you can go with making sure they're doing, and you're supporting them enough with their goals as far as athletics.
I really wouldn't say that I pushed my son in sports. My daughter plays sports too. Now she's the one I tried to push, and she rebelled. She wanted to cheer, so I lost that battle. But my son, he was very competitive always. I don't think I really pushed him. The only thing I just had to do really for him was be his, I guess, his chauffeur, and pay the fees, that kind of stuff, to be able to give him the opportunity, because he liked playing sports. He did everything. So I didn't really have to push him. I would just say, basically, though, at this point, he's going to college, and so I do know that the coaches have their own. When they look at the athletes, the coaches have their own picture of what they want your child to look like, how they're going to develop your child. So really, it's an instance of kind of backing up and just allowing them to do what they're going to do. My son, he was 6'3", probably 195 when he went real skinny, and so a lot of parents may think, oh, push him to eat, make him get big. But they were like, no, we like him because he's tall and skinny. We'll make him faster. We'll put the weight on him. We'll do this and do that. So, it's kind of like, you just kind of push back and just, hold them accountable. If you're saying that your son is one of the ones that may kind of try to take some shortcuts, you want to hold them accountable with that kind of stuff. But as far as pushing them, I would just be there to support and, I guess be a listening ear.
All right. What about you, Mr. Reese?
Your son playing basketball, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said before, it's about desire. So, if he wants to play basketball, and he's committed to being as good as he can be, wake him up at 4 o'clock in the morning and shoot 500 free throws and see how he feel about it. right? And then, if he's ready for it the next day, then you probably have one that you can push. But if he doesn't, then his desire may not be there, and it may not be there yet. But to me, that's a barometer that you could use to see what his desire is.
That's good.
Good answer.
That's good. All right. Well, thank you. I would like to thank the guests, Mr. Wendell Reese, Willie, Candace, and Karen. Thank you guys for joining us. This was great. We can go on and on,
Yes.
but we got to move on.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate
Yes,
it.
we really do.
Good answers, you guys. Really
Yeah.
good discussion.
Yes.
Very
Really good
impressed.
discussion.
Yes.
Well, we will move on to Big Mama. Woo, woo. So,
Yes. I'm so excited to see what Big Mama has for
listen,
us.
y'all, we just love Big Mama.
Yes.
We
Yes.
just love Big Mama. So, let's go on to Big Mama.
What you want, what you need.
Get out of order with Miss Roni. Your ass mine.
Every little thing you want, every little thing you need. Keep it all for yourself, my love, 'cause it really don't matter to me.
Hey, baby, my name is Calderoni Baker. Some people call me Big Mama, but as you can see, I ain't Big Mama, all right? I ain't 90 years old. I ain't about to clock out. My favorite football team is the team that won last Sunday, baby. That's how I roll. Amen? Because we do things decent and in order. Hey, babies, welcome to another Fireside Chat with Mama Roni. Got another question in my mailbag today, and this one is a doozy. Mama Roni, my daughter would love to play football. I'm a little nervous about her playing football. What do you think? Baby, when I tell you this is a good question in the days and times that we living in, now, all y'all athletes know, and y'all back from the 20s, 30s, and probably before, I'm talking about the 1920s and 30s, you played sports. Everybody played together. You played baseball, baby. We used to play baseball, and we used to have a time. Boys and girls, women and men mixed in together. Same thing with football. Y'all didn't know that, did you? And as we've gotten older, and we've seen sports getting more physical, I know sometimes parents don't even want their sons to play football. A lot of things going on with brain injuries and concussions and whatnot. But I get the sense you are worried that your daughter might be roughed up a little bit. And the first thing I'll say is it depends on what position your daughter playing. Your daughter, she's a punter, ain't nothing gonna happen to her probably if she's kicking the ball. Amen? But if she wants to be a running back, I can see why you'd be a little nervous about that. But here's what I tell you. There are sports that women play, girls and women play with. It's all women and all girls. There's football leagues, professional football leagues with women. And then there are some women who want to rough it up with the guys. And all I can tell you is that you got to look at the safety ramifications of whatever situation your daughter might be in. It might be a little bit impossible for her to be at the college or pro level. There hasn't been a precedent yet. We haven't seen women running backs and tight ends at the pro and the college league. So Mama Roni's gonna throw this at you. Ask your daughter, what does she want? What does she need? Why does she want to play football? And at what level is she interested in playing? And then give her some options. Talk about it. She can play in the women's pro league. If she's not playing in a big contact sport, she might be able to play at the college or the pro level. I don't know. But there's always a first time for everything, baby. But I would recommend that you have a conversation with your daughter and then make a decision that best works for your family. And that's going to do it. We'll see you next time in Mama Roni's Fireside Chat. Y'all take care, babies.
Thank you, Big Mama. You always have very interesting discussion. So we appreciate you,
Yes,
Big
we
Mama.
did.
So listen, you guys, we thank you for watching.
Yes.
Thank you for joining the show. Remember, like us, thumbs up.
Yeah.
If you have an interesting story, something you want to share, contact us at canwetalksports@gmail.com. If you're interested in sponsorship, we have sponsorships at all different levels. So contact us. Get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for joining the show. We can't wait to see you next week. And again, as moms, we got something
To say. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
And so I feel like that was something that I needed to do. And I not only that, helping people, but I wanted to help athletes monetize outside of their sport. Because I've been coming across a lot of, student athletes. They don't understand the whole concept of NIL. In the next, I say 5 to 10 years, I think a lot of students are not going to go to college. Athletes is like, hey, yeah, you can play the sport, but hey, what you want to do outside of your sport? They only have one direct mind on NIL, and that's getting deals. And not understanding, like, NIL, this is like your whole brand. It's your brand, your name, your image. And